Now let's go behind the rock screen.
You're welcome to come on in. We'll bring out the moonshine, start telling lies and calling up the women. But no talk about racing. Come on.
Driver of the 52X Baker River Racing Sprint Car from Horn Lake, Mississippi, Adrian Tetreault. Adrian, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, happy to be here. Love telling stories, and here we get to tell stories.
I like it. So you've been busy promoting. We've been talking about this before we started recording. You were chatting with our guys over there, Blake and Charlie at the dirt tracks and rib racks, and Trace and Rick with Pit Report. So how's it been out there talking about what you're doing behind the wheel?
Love it. Connecting with people and creating content is the new sponsorship. Slapping a sticker on a car and hoping somebody sees it at the racetrack, it ain't cutting it anymore. So you guys, the service that you guys provide is second to none. I don't think anybody realizes that yet. I've said that before. Tanner Holmes realizes it, but you guys are the key to getting messages out there, and we can't thank you, drivers, owners. We can't thank you guys enough. Even the small guys can't thank you guys enough. So thank you for having us on.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if you've seen any of my stuff, I mean, that's really kind of what we're here. Like, don't get me wrong. If Donnie Schatz said, hey, I want to come on, I'm not going to tell the guy no. But if I can get the teams and the series and drivers around my area, or even you reached out down there in the South, like, I love that stuff. Give me all those guys, have them come on, and let's talk some racing.
Right. Bench racing is fun, and this is an outlet for bench racing too. So,
yeah. So, let's start out with the easy one. How did you get into racing?
How did I get into racing? I guess we can start at the very beginning. My family were all drag racers. My uncle started I want to say it's one of the oldest car clubs in the New England, Connecticut region, New Breed Auto Club, Norwich, Connecticut. I want to say early 50s. They all got together and went and did drag racing. I'm assuming, because I wasn't born yet, I'm assuming that was my thing. That's where I got my start.
Sure.
Waterford Speedbowl, Waterford, Connecticut, is where I started as a kid, probably 7, 8 years old, going and watching asphalt modifieds. So that was the bug. That's where I got my start. There was that New Breed Auto Club, and then Waterford Speedbowl is where I saw my first circle track race.
Okay. And I know from listening to some of your other interviews, you got into racing. You're racing into racing up there in the Northeast, and then you ended up moving. You had a break there, and then you ended up moving down south, and then you got back into racing. So, kind of take us through the different trials and tribulations there.
Yeah, had a family. Put racing to the side. We were still in New England. Wife and I went to Bear Ridge, which I had raced at as a younger person. Great racetrack, nice people up there, April and Butch. Middle of nowhere, Vermont. You wouldn't think there was a dirt racetrack in the middle of nowhere, Vermont. I swear to you, there is. So New England, wife and I went to a race, and I'm like, you know what? It's these same three guys winning all the time. I'm getting kind of tired of watching this. And she looked at me and she goes, well, why don't we go buy a car? My head must have spun around 3 times, and I went, are you really sure you want to do that? Can of worms, and we ended up buying a USAC DMA dirt midget. Not a national level midget, stepped down from, but had a blast with it. And then had to move south. I worked for FedEx, Memphis. Everybody asked where Horn Lake, Mississippi was. I'm like, it's Memphis. It's literally, I could throw a rock and hit Elvis's house, but that's a whole different story. So, not to get off topic, bought the midget, had to move south because working for FedEx, and they don't race midgets close by down here. And I had just spent, almost 10 grand on a midget. And I'm like, well, now what are we going to do? So I looked around at racing down here. The closest one was probably about 3.5, 4 hours away, and paid like $50 to start. I'm like, oh, that's not going to cut it. So we sold the midget, and there's a racetrack less than 20 minutes from my house down here, Riverside, in West Memphis. My earbuds keep falling out. They race 305 sprint cars, and I'm like, well, shoot, I've always wanted to race a sprint car. Let's sell the midget and buy a sprint car. So we did that. We sold the midget. Went to a super nice kid out in North Carolina. They drove all night to come pick it up. Picked it up, it left, and then we went sprint car racing.
So a few things on that. One, you mentioned Memphis, and I've been to Memphis, and I went to BB King's.
Okay.
Really good, really cool little spot right there.
So BB King's, I've eaten barbecue everywhere in Memphis. I kid you not. As much of a tourist trap as that place is, the hands down best ribs in Memphis.
Yeah, and the food was delicious. I mean, I can't argue that with you. And another question I had was, I grew up in Ohio. I moved to Georgia for a while. I came back to Ohio. So I wonder, because I know from my perspective, dirt racing was different where I was at in Georgia. It wasn't as heavily populated as it is here where I'm at, near Dayton. What was the, if any, difference between dirt racing in the Northeast and where you ended up in the South?
So dirt racing in the Northeast is sporadic. There's a private track in Rhode Island, smallest state in the union, go figure. There's a track in Rumney, New Hampshire, which is where we came from, and then a track in Vermont. So Bear Ridge, Vermont, and of course my brain, we were talking about sponsors, so I had sponsors going through my head, and my brain is totally forgotten the track that I lived right next to in Rumney. So 3 tracks. There is a sprint cars in New England series up there that kind of bounce around between those 3 tracks. And then the USAC DMA, which is now, I forgot who their sanctioning body is, but it's there, but it's not prevalent. It's asphalt. 3 tracks in Connecticut: Thompson, Waterford, Stafford. Stafford is probably on the national level when it comes to short track racing. Everybody talks about Stafford. They're doing amazing things there. So yeah, dirt tracking is there, but it's not like down here. I mean, again, speaking of throwing rocks, I could throw a rock and hit Sammy Swindell's house. I could throw a rock and hit Jason Side's garage. It's dirt track racing down here is 300 times what it is in New England, and it was like coming to Mecca for me.
Okay. Do you see different divisions where you're at now compared to where you were in the Northeast?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll touch base on where I really paid attention to dirt track racing. Lebanon Valley, New York, big block dirt mods, World Outlaws would come every year.
Your favorite track, right?
That is my favorite track. Well, it's my favorite track food. Williams Grove in Pennsylvania is my favorite
That's right.
track.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, no worries. Lebanon Valley is great, food-wise, but they don't have a 410 program. I'm a sprint car guy, so not to say that the big block dirt mods don't blow your minds. Super fast track, Lebanon Valley. But yeah, down here, you would think it would be a sprint car hotbed. Speaking of different divisions, down here is like late model country for some reason.
Yep.
I love watching late models when those guys carry the front left. Woo.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fendered guy. I don't like beating and banging. It's not my thing. I like finesse, and open wheels teaches you to have a little bit of finesse and a little bit more respect for equipment. So that's why I ended up in open wheels.
Okay. It's funny you say that, because when I was in Georgia, that was kind of the thing. It was more like fender cars, late models. And, if you go further south, closer to Florida, then I think you're going to find more sprint cars being more prevalent. there. You would obviously know that.
Yep. Top
Well,
Gun is a group that's down there.
Yep.
And they're getting bigger and bigger, but still, it's still late model country. You have pockets of sprint car. You have Pennsylvania. You have Attica in Ohio. Obviously Eldora, but it's not a weekly program. There's only sporadic weekly programs when it comes to sprint cars.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's pretty big on that. You know, they're going to stop racing here after this weekend at BAPS, and then they'll.
Yep.
I think they race again in like February, the Icebreaker.
Yeah.
Which I think is wild, but
yeah.
Hey, man, they love it, and I'm glad for them. But let's move into your 2025 season. I know the weather didn't cooperate as much as you would have liked it to. You got 10 races in, and you had 5 top 10s. So give us a recap on the season for you.
So 10 races in, I went to a bunch of new tracks. I do have that Riverside track that's about 20 minutes away from me. I'd rather go check places out. I like road trips. I like hopping on the road. I'll sleep in the trailer if I need to. I'll sleep on the ground if I need to. We like going places to race. I like meeting new people. It's a lot of fun. I could go do a weekly program over at Riverside. It's not fun to me. So, yep, 10 races in, lots of rainouts. We raced with Southern Sprint Car Association. We raced an ASCS, couple of ASCS races. We raced some USCS races. I think 8 of them were, if everybody doesn't know, I'm a 305 motor. So 8 of our races were against the 360s. 2 races, the 2 that I raced up in Benton, were against 305s. It's fun racing against the 360s, but I know I'm never going to win. But I'll tell you, I guarantee you there's not anybody having more fun out on the racetrack than me.
That's good. That's good. You know, go ahead.
So, yeah, to finish with 5 top 10s against 360s, I'm not complaining, for sure. Stats and numbers are something that we all look at, and I will definitely take 5 top 10s.
Yeah. Was there any race that stuck out to you this season that you just, you're at the track, you're racing, you're having a good time, but was there any single one that stuck out? You're like, man, that night was just great.
Yeah, USCS race, our actual very last race. I don't know if have you raced anything? Have you driven?
I have not. Nope.
Okay.
I'm just a fan.
So coming off a turn 2 and you feel the car settle down and it just sticks and your foot's on the floor and you're like, that was the best corner. And for the last 6 or 7 laps of the race at Pine Ridge with USCS, one of my sponsors was there, Midas was there, so it just, the car felt awesome, and I was able to race against the 360s. I was able to pass a couple of cars and hold my own. So that to me stuck out. That was our awesome race.
Very cool. So I know, I think I've heard you talking, like you mentioned, 305 running against 360s, but we're looking at getting a 360 moving into 2026.
If anybody wants to give us money or a 360 motor or a 410 motor, I'll drive anything. It's funding. We fund out of our pocket. I have a few small sponsors, Midas, First Fence, that help me out. But it's fundage. We spend a lot of money to get to the race because we travel. We just don't have the money to build a 360 motor. I'm scratching for pennies to get to races and to run the 305. Don't get me wrong, the 305 will hold its own when the track goes a little bit dry slick. We can run mid-pack. If I got a 360 motor, would I run up front? Maybe. That all depends on me. But we have fun. So I'm not begging for sponsors. I'm not saying I'll continue to have fun. A couple of people know this. I'm out of the seat I'm 53. I only got a few more years left. 5, we'll say. I'm not Sammy Swindell. I'm not getting in the car at 65, 70 years old and beating myself up. My idea when I started the sprint car thing was I want to give back to the community that has always been open arms. You've been to 1,000 racetracks. Any racetrack you go to, it's like family. I want to find the kid that is never going to go any further than a go-kart, is never going to go any further than maybe a mini sprint, who doesn't have the money to move up into a full-size sprint car, and put him in my car. I'm going to be a car owner down the road. I need to figure out how to make it sustainable. I can't go spending a bunch of money to put a kid in the car. That's where sponsors come into step. But that was my idea when I purchased the sprint car. Was like, I know I'm out of the seat soon. I want to give a kid that deserves it, that isn't going to go any further, a ride.
I like it. So, I mean, if you got a 305, there's a series up in Ohio, in northern Ohio, that runs 305s.
Yeah, Attica, and I can't remember the other track. But yeah, we thought about making I have family in Medina outside of Cleveland.
Okay.
So Attica is it's in our radar. I'm like, I'm going to make it there. But they get a lot of cars for a 305. Fremont is the other one. Attica and Fremont.
Yeah. The Attica Fremont series. Yep. They run the 410 305 series between the two tracks.
It's on our radar for sure.
Nice.
Especially because I have family up there. So
definitely. That'd be awesome to see you pull up here and run that. The SSCA Renegade Series in 2026, is that something you're looking to run full time, or what are you trying to do with those guys next year?
We're just like a true outlaw, even though we're not a 410. We pick and choose. I have a full time, or I like to call it my in the way job. I work for FedEx full time. Kind of gets in the way. It's a joke. I'm blessed with a boss that I say, hey, I need to take this day off. We're going racing. He's like, go race. So, but I don't want to take too many days off from work because, you don't want to lose touch at work. So I pick and choose the races that we go to. That's probably what we're going to do again next year. Pick and choose. I love racing for Pete at USCS. The ASCS Hurricane Series. Love racing with them. So I can go race USCS through Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. I can race ASCS in Louisiana and a little bit of Texas and some Arkansas, and then you can pick and choose. So it's great that I'm able to do that.
So you're racing sprint cars in the South. What's the season look like down there? I try to follow it as much as I can, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everybody's running when they're running. So when does it really start down there, and when does it wrap up?
So I think we have. I'm not racing it because I'm on the road starting tomorrow morning. I got to go pick up a frame up in Grain City, Missouri. I got like an 8-hour trip to do after work tomorrow. So picking up a frame and a wing somewhere up in Missouri. Okay. February, I think USCS starts their winter heat series. I want to say end of February.
Yep.
It's kind of like the same thing up in Pennsylvania. End of February, and we'll run till now. So it's a long season. You're probably looking at, in reality, a 35 race season, 35 to 40 nights that you could race. I'm going to probably put together. I was ambitious, and we didn't get to them all. Obviously, we talked about that. I was ambitious and put together like a 25 race schedule this past year, and we didn't get to them. I'm probably going to scale it back between 12 and 15, unless I miraculously get some major funding. But yeah, 12 to 15 is probably what we're going to look at racing next year.
Okay. Have you started to think that through? As far as I know, you got a number, but have you started to think like, I know I want to try to hit this track, or I want to go to this state, or are you going to stay close, or have you thought that through yet?
I have. Nobody's really released schedules yet.
Right.
There's a couple of tracks that said, "Oh, we have a USCS date." I want to say, I think it was East Alabama, or maybe it was West Alabama. One of those two announced the USCS date, and I'm like, "Oh, we'll circle that one." Benton, Missouri, announced the USCS race, so we'll circle that. I would like to get back to Magnolia, in Mississippi. Beautiful facility, late model country, but they love us when we show up.
Yeah.
Definitely back to Benton. Those are the only two that I have really circled. I would love to get Brendan Grubraw down in Florida puts on a memorial race for his dad, the Tim Grubraw Memorial. I spoke about that on one of the other podcasts. I was supposed to go this year. I didn't get to go. We didn't have funding to get down there. But that will always be on my, as long as I own a car, as long as I'm driving, that'll always be on my list to try to get to that race. It's at All-Tech Raceway.
Okay.
Another beautiful facility if you ever get the chance to go there. So the way the pits are set up, the camping area of the pits is tiered, so nobody has a bad shot of the track. You can sit around a fire at your camper and watch the whole track.
Awesome.
It's a gorgeous facility.
That's awesome. How long of a haul was that for you?
That was 9.5 hours, almost 10 hours.
Wow.
Yep. And last year, we didn't race it this past year. We raced it the year before. I wrecked the car lap one, tumbled, destroyed the whole car, and that was a long ride home by myself because I didn't have any help. My friend from New Hampshire came down. He winters in Florida. He came down a week early to help me out, and I wrecked the car lap one. He looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm not sure. I rung my bell pretty good. So I loaded up the car and had to drive all the way home by myself. That was a long, quiet ride home by myself.
I can only imagine. And you kind of touched on it there. Actually, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, working on cars, if you were going to talk to kids looking to get into working on race cars, what kind of advice would you have for them?
There's so many programs out there. So many trade high schools. If you're looking to turn wrenches, find yourself a trade high school. If you're in that age, go talk to people at the racetrack. I'll put anybody to work. You come to my trailer, I'll feed you and I'll put you to work. Because it's usually just me, and if it's not just me, it's me and my wife. We're a very small team. I did have the blessing of Tristan Dixon. Shout out, he got to drive his first sprint car race. Another team let him hop in a car, but great kid, turned wrenches for me for a couple of nights. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that kid was awesome to come out and give me a hand. Go talk to people. Get out there. Every single race car driver likes to talk. Every single race car driver will show you the ropes and let you hop in and help out. So yeah, get out there and talk is probably my biggest advice.
Definitely. So that makes me kind of curious as to what a race night looks for you, because it sounds like a lot of times you're kind of doing it on your own. Do you have things kind of set up already from the shop, so when you get to the track you can drop the door and be ready to roll if you need to?
Yep,
or
absolutely.
There's kind of working on things when you get there, or how does it go for you?
Well, we have a trailer where we have to take the wing off. So first thing I'm doing is looking around for who's going to help me put the wing on, because it's a pain in the ass to put it up there by yourself. That's the only thing that I'm really looking for, is help to put the wing on. Car's already set up because we're going to different tracks, so I don't know what the setup's going to be like. I have a baseline set up in it, and we'll tweak from there. But yeah, we're pretty much ready to go by the time we get to the track. It's not like a fendered car where I'm banging out the fenders all week long to get to the racetrack and make it look pretty. I'm changing the oil and checking valve lash is the only real maintenance, and washing the car, but that's the only real weekly maintenance that we're doing afterwards. But car's pretty much ready to go by the time we get to the racetrack. That's why you're able to do it with one or two people, because you're ready to go when you get there.
Yeah. So you kind of talked about this before. I've heard you mention it. So the first time you went 4 wide in a sprint car.
Yep.
Walk me through that. What was that like?
Whew. Getting goosebumps now. As you know, fans mean everything to us. Fans pay the bills. If we don't have fans in the seats, we're just a bunch of idiots driving around in circles. So the salute to the fans is so important. I can't reiterate how important it is to let them know that we really care about them being in the stands. So that 4 wide salute to them, I think Magnolia with USCS, and which is a quick side story about that too. So yeah, 4 wide, Magnolia with the USCS, goosebumps, looking up at the fans that are waving their phones and seeing the lights, and that's amazing to me. So the side story to that race, Danny Smith was in that race, and I'm like, I'm racing against one of my heroes. What the heck? So, and then he buzzed me like, he is so fast, even at his age, fast. Not saying he's old, but he's old. So I'm coming off a 4, and I got it on the floor, and I kind of look underneath my wing to see where I'm going. I'm like, oh, look, Danny Smith buzzing me, about to go past me, like 30 miles an hour faster than I'm going. It was a neat thing to have him buzz past me and go flying down the front stretch. So it was a pretty cool feeling to be in the same field as him.
All in one night. Those are memories that you'll never forget.
Well, yeah, never. Yep.
Do you have a bucket list track both as a fan and as a driver?
Yep, and my brain just went blank. The track in California, Oceanside, is that the name of it? The one where you can see the ocean up against the track. Caleb Montgomery talks about it all the time. Tanner Holmes talks about it all the time. And of course, my brain is off. That as a fan and probably a driver, I would love to go out there. I think of what else. Williams Grove. I have never raced on Williams Grove. Be it a 410, a 358, or a 305. I would love to get out there. That track, man, those guys are hauling at the end of the straightaway. So, and everybody who runs out there, even the slow guys, there's no lift. They're just on the floor the whole time. So, Williams Grove as a driver for sure. And then, of course, I can't remember that track out in California. That's how important
I want to say it's Ocean Speedway, but I'm not.
Something along those lines. I've seen pictures of it, and I'm like, oh, I got to go there. I have to.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I got to ask.
The Crown Jewels, Eldora.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Kings Royal, yes, but that's a given. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what started all this for us was the Kings Royal, and man, it's a blast, and it gets bigger every year. It's awesome. So
yeah,
as a fan, if you get a chance to get to it, I'm certainly gonna propose that more so than anything else, just because that's what we were built around. But yeah, Ocean Speedway is awesome. I think I remember the Outlaws being there. I don't know. It was probably 4 years ago now, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that view is just awesome. And then Williams Grove is Williams Grove. I mean, what else do you got to say about that?
Yeah, Beer Hill. Those are all my friends. I became friends with everybody on Beer Hill. Love those guys. Will always shout them out every chance I get. So.
Do you have any thoughts? This topic's kind of come up this week, and I figured I'd ask you. Do you have any thoughts about National Sprint Car Series going, either going to the West Coast or not going to the West Coast. There's been kind of a couple ways to look at it, I guess. If you don't go across country, are you really national? But at the same sense, if you go across country and you're losing money because the weather seems to never cooperate when they go out there, does that make sense? Like, what kind of thought do you have about that?
That's the risk of owning a series, I guess. Just like we load up and head out, you need to have rain dates built in. I just was watching Tanner Holmes talk about this. He actually took down a video that he had put up talking about the Outlaws not going to the West Coast. And I guess I can't remember the owner, the GM of World Outlaws.
That's Brian Carter.
Brian Carter put up a video yesterday, said, no, we're going to California. We just haven't released that part of the schedule yet. So
yeah, I think he was on Wing Nation talking about their schedule's not done yet, and it sounds like they're going to California, but I guess that it sounds like they have to look for some other tracks.
Right.
So I know, with High Limit out there now, and they're really trying to, I don't know if they're trying to put a stranglehold on California or not, now that they also have NARC and
right.
If they're really trying to control the West Coast, because they do that crazy trip, which they're doing it again, where they go from California all the way to Pennsylvania, and it's like, I don't know, 6 days or something crazy.
Yeah, those guys are nuts. That makes it for a long couple of weeks stretches out on the road.
And this will be the third year in a row that they've made that trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but that tells me that guys must not be complaining about it that much, because if you've done it 3 years straight, especially with that short amount of time in between the turnaround.
I don't know if I was getting offered a, 150K to finish 10th place in High Limits. I think I'd be making that trip too. I keep looking around. I look at the numbers and I'm like, all right, if I sell the house, I could live in the truck, or I could put a 410 motor in the car. And at the end of the year, if I finish in this place, I will make more money than I make at my real job. And then the wife looks at me and goes, stop. So,
yeah. So you kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's dive into it a little bit more. You talked about looking for a driver in the future, somebody that you can put into your program that you feel like might not have an opportunity. Do you have an idea what that looks like? Do you see it being a kid that's, I don't know, maybe they're running a stock car, or maybe they're running go-karts or things like that. Do you have any idea on what that looks like?
Plenty of kids running mini sprints down here. There's a big mini sprint contingent that runs at Riverside. Okay. That's probably where I'm going to look. There is a go-kart program about 40 minutes north of here. That's probably where I'm going to look. I hadn't had the chance to go up and look at the go-kart kids yet. I have had a chance to look at some of the kids running mini sprints down here, but I'm not out of the seat yet, so I'm not really looking.
Sure.
When I know it's 1 to 2 years, then I'm really going to start looking, because I'm pretty sure all the kids that are in mini sprints and go-karts now are going to be moving on to different stuff by the time I need to put somebody in the seat. So probably like four more years, and I'll really start looking, see if I can't nail something down and get a kid into the car.
Well, I can tell you, if FedEx ever brings you north in the next couple of years, there's plenty of options here in Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio's a hotbed for go-karts. Ohio's a hotbed for dirt racing, especially the eastern edge of Ohio. So,
yeah. Well, before we get done with this episode, Adrian, I've got some lightning round questions for you. 10 questions, as quick as you can give me an answer. Some of you might not have an answer. We'll find out.
I'll have an answer.
First question: celebrity crush growing up.
Celebrity crush growing up. Everybody had the Farrah Fawcett poster on their wall. Farrah Fawcett.
All right. Favorite cartoon.
Tells you how old I am.
That's all right. Favorite cartoon.
Favorite cartoon. Tom and Jerry, for sure.
Okay. Do you have a favorite pro wrestler?
Favorite pro wrestler? I'm in Memphis. It's got to be Jerry Lawler.
Is there a favorite song or a song that you get to the track you got to play, or if there's a song that comes on the radio and you got to crank it up? Is there a song out there that does that for you?
Yep. So my dad was a big Genesis fan growing up. So anytime I swear to you, it happens more often than not. We're on the way to the racetrack. A Genesis song will play, and I know my dad's watching over us because he had passed away, and that song gets cranked before we get to the racetrack.
Okay. Well, Genesis, then you got to like Phil Collins.
Love Phil Collins. Yep.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? This one's a little obscure. Not everybody's seen it. 25th Hour. It's a Spike Lee movie.
Okay.
And it's got Ed Norton in it. But yeah, if you get the chance, 25th Hour.
All right. What's it about?
It is about the last 25 hours of Ed Norton's life when he gets caught as a heroin dealer in New York City.
Interesting.
It's super interesting. It sounds a little like offish, but 25th Hour. It's a great
Spike
movie.
Lee. I'm sure it's good.
Yep.
Now you race, so this question might be difficult to answer, but do you have a favorite vacation spot?
My friend Rich, who does all our PR, is in my favorite vacation spot as we speak. Disney World. Every chance I get to go to Disney World, I will go to Disney World.
Really? Okay. I have never been. I know people that love it and they go back time and time again. I have never been.
I swear to you, when they say the happiest place on earth, there's no. If you're any sort of a food person, if you're a foodie, top-notch food, like Michelin-starred restaurants.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Disney World. All right. Very good. Something very few people would know about you.
Something very few people would know about me. That's a good question. I have a little bit of dyslexia, and I'm ADHD, like most drivers. That's something not too many people know about me.
All right. Very good for sharing. Very good. If you could own one car, you get home, you hit the garage door opener, what is sitting in the garage?
The Mustang from the movie Bullet. The green Mustang. Yep, that would be it.
All right. Nice. I will tell you, anytime we talk about this, I always think back to like the late 80 Fox body Mustang 5.0 GT, the hatchback. For me, that's one car that I wish I could have. My dad had one, and man, I thought those cars were slick.
They are. And the bolt-on power that you can bolt on, it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have a go-to meal?
You would think barbecue, living in Memphis. Go-to meal. Do enjoy me some hot dogs, but I don't want to pick hot dogs. Let's go with lasagna. We'll go Italian. We'll go lasagna, but day-old lasagna, not fresh-made lasagna.
Ooh.
Day-old after it's.
Are you going to heat it up, or is it going to be cold?
Absolutely cold.
So you talking Italian food made me think. I went to St. Louis this summer for work, and I cannot remember the name of this place to save my life. But if you go to St. Louis, there is an Italian area of St. Louis, an Italian like neighborhood where they have like restaurants on the corner. Like it's a neighborhood and there's a restaurant on the corner. It's the craziest thing, but the food was amazing. I mean, the best Italian food I'd ever had. I gotta remember that. It was delicious. But if you ever go to St. Louis, if you find the Italian neighborhood, you're gonna strike gold somewhere. I promise.
I'll just start walking around asking, point me in the direction of Little Italy.
All right, and the last one I got for you. Do you have a funny story that you could share with us from the track or the shop or on the way to the track or leaving the track? Funny story from racing.
Yeah, absolutely funny story. And I think I said this on one of my other podcasts because that's how funny the story is. It needs repeating. My friend Mark Bogue, who raced Busch North, who I want to say he had Tim Richmond in one of his cars at one point in time.
Wow.
I'm probably wrong on Tim Richmond. It was probably somebody else, but he and I raced. He owned an Allison Legacy series, and we were going in between two racetracks in Maine. And he says to me, "Hey, let's get a grinder," which is like a sub to you guys or a hero. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that." And he pulls off into this house, not a restaurant, not a store. It was a house. Now, mind you, we had a 53-foot trailer behind us with a Duramax dually, and we just pulled into this front yard. And I'm like, "Mark, what are we doing?" He goes, "We're getting a grinder." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Follow me." Hops out of the truck, goes into this lady's like kitchen, and says, "Hey, can we get two grinders?" She's like, "Yep, absolutely." Opens up the fridge and starts making us, I think it was a ham grinder, starts whipping together a ham grinder. I'm looking at Mark, I'm looking at this lady, I'm like, what? Only in the backwoods of Maine would this ever happen. Apparently, it's well known that this lady's house is where you stop to get grinders or heroes, and we got our grinder. Best sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. I don't know if it was because I was tired and I just saw this crazy thing happen in front of me, but perfect sandwich, and we ate it on the way to the track. But yeah, that's one of my favorite racing stories.
It's funny you say that because I remember you telling that story. I've heard you tell that story before, but this time for some reason it made me think about a trip. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago now. I was in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oof.
And I knew a guy that worked there. I was meeting up with him, and I'm like, "Hey, you got a spot I should hit up to eat?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's again, I'm bad with stuff, but I can't remember the name. But nevertheless, he gave me the name and the address, and I'm like, all right."
Mhm.
So I put it in, and I start driving there. And I don't know if you've ever been to Shreveport, but it wasn't the good side of town.
Nope. Is there? I don't know if there is a good side of town.
Boarded up. Right. There were windows boarded up, windows busted out, wrought iron over windows. I'm like, where the hell is this guy sending me? And I
Right.
pull up, and you like park on the street. Like there's no parking lot or anything. And it's like a small house, and there's wrought iron over the windows. And I'm like, well, I'm here. So I got out and walked in, and then nicest people that you could ever meet. Great food. I mean, some awesome food. But I can tell you, I was not expecting that. So, I mean, You've got a story. I've got a story. Like, you never know what you're going to end up finding when you're out there on the road.
Nope, absolutely. That's the fun part of being on the road.
So, Adrian, where can everybody follow you on social media? And do you have any merchandise available?
So our big social media, the one that I do the most on is Facebook, Baker River Racing. Follow us out there on Facebook. I do have a YouTube account. We put some exclusive stuff up on YouTube. Again, Baker River Racing. I do have an Instagram, and we do have. Great. Now my mind's not working. Anything you search Baker River Racing, we're out there.
Okay. All right.
Merch. I do have a merch website. Again, if you go on to any of my Baker River Racing, usually the link's on there. We don't profit anything on our merch. If you do want something and you don't see something that you want, I have some one-off stuff. Contact me directly, and I'll send you something out. We do Venmo and stuff like that. I think this year we're going to do some dog stuff because we rescue dogs. So
okay.
I got to throw some dog merch up there. We're going to do some bandanas and leashes for dogs, and maybe some collars and some frisbees. So trying to do that sort of fun stuff.
Awesome. Very cool. And last but not least, sponsors that you'd like to thank.
Yeah, sponsors that I like to thank. First Fence, off the bat, first sponsor to step up when we moved here down south. Ron and his folks over at Midas, we just did a ribbon cutting for their 7th store. If you guys know anything about Midas, somebody owning 7 stores is a huge deal. They're opening up store like 8 and 9 coming up pretty soon. Those guys, big help. Separate Synthetics takes care of all of my oil and oil filters. Those guys are awesome. Scorpion Racewear, my friend Nigel out there in Australia designed my fire suit. Everybody's like, Australia? He got it to me in a week. He designed it and had it to me pretty quickly. Most comfortable fire suit I've ever worn. Off the rack fire suit versus a custom built fire suit, night and day difference. Makes me look almost professional. Those are my major sponsors that I need to thank. I got a couple of small sponsors, John Howard and the Howard family down here. John Howard builds my motors. I swear to you, if it wasn't for the Howard family down here, half of us wouldn't be able to race. Third off the back kind of people, you need a fuel pump to race, here, borrow this one. So definitely would be remiss if I didn't say something about them. But those are the sponsors that I need to thank.
Nice. Well, Adrian Tetreault, driver of the 52X Baker River Racing Sprint Car out of Horn Lake, Mississippi. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We had a blast.
Guys, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters podcast, and we hope to see you at the track.
Goodbye, mwah, and good night, bang.
Thanks for listening to the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. As always, this is Josh, and you can follow us on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube at Dirt Court Jester. And we hope to see you guys at the track.